Our next speaker is Dr. Kim Scott, and she's running a very successful program called the Child Resiliency Program, which is part of the Violence Prevention Alliance project. So I welcome you, Dr. Kim Scott. Come forward. Give her a big round of applause. Before she starts, I'll just tell you that she has been involved in adolescent resiliency research and developed and implemented a home writing parenting program for adolescents for the Ministry of Health. And she's also done a lot of other research. And for the past decade, she has been the founder and director of the Child Resiliency Program of the Violence Prevention Alliance, an after-school program for children at risk for violence referred from primary schools, which includes a strong parenting and family component. So give her a big round of applause.
Thank you, Marie. Okay, everybody awake? Wake up. Good afternoon again. I will steal from Claudette and say all protocols observed. Yes, to go back and forth. The topic, we are moving on. We've been speaking a lot about parent issues. We've gotten some really hands-down information in terms of how we can become better and better parents. Truth of the matter is, as somebody said at the beginning, none of us are perfect. We are here to strengthen each other, to look at ourselves, to reflect on our skills as a parent. Some of us are very good on one thing and not so good on the other thing. But this little talk is a little bit about the issues, the rights and responsibilities of parents. Child rights, anybody heard of the UN Convention on the Child Rights? Most have heard of. These are terms that are bandied about, especially through UNICEF since 1991. Countries got together and came up with a ratified convention on the rights of the child. And I'm not going to get into, there are 43 articles on the rights of the child. I'm going to list a few. For example, Article 18, both parents share responsibility for bringing up their children and should always consider what is best for each child. These are simple things, but we can't take them for granted. Article 24, children have the right to good quality health care, to clean water, nutritious food, and a clean environment so that they will stay healthy. All children have a right to primary education. Children have a right to learn and use the language and customs of their families. And all children have a right to relax and play and join in a wide range of activities. So these rights from 1 to 43 are just a reminder of what the government is responsible for keeping our children safe and ensuring that these rights are met. But without parents, we're not going to get them met. Child rights go hand in hand with parent responsibilities. Now there's also a thing called parent rights, and again I'm not going to pretend to be the expert. The attorney is here and I'm hoping I might give more light to what parents' rights really are at a court level. But the legal concept of parent rights generally refers to a parent's right to make decisions regarding a child's education, their health care, religion, among other things. And if parents are separated or divorced, these rights can extend to custody and visitation. So all parents have responsibilities as a parent to simply provide a home for the child, to protect and maintain the child, but they're also responsible for basic things like naming the child, disciplining, not murderation, choosing and providing for the child's education, agreeing to the child's medical treatment, looking after their property, and ensuring that the child is supported financially. So these sort of fall under these broad headings. Parent responsibility falls under custody, supervision, physical and psychological protection, health and safety, education, providing food, and caring for the child. And as you can see, sometimes you have, as that father was demonstrated, are doing very well in providing the food or giving some sort of material resources, but are failing poorly in terms of the psychological protection or caring for the child. So sometimes as parents, we are very strong in one area and weaker in another. We just have to reflect and look at ourselves. But what if in this day and age, the reality is our children are not growing up in one home? So invariably we're having separated parents. Children are shifted from grandmother to auntie to uncle to one parent to the other parent, especially after divorce or separation. So then at that point, who is responsible? Who makes the decisions about children after the parents break up? The parent who does not have custody of the child is only losing the right to custody. Custody is only really saying this is where the child is going to live. The parent who has custody is deciding where the child will live. But the parent who does not have custody still has all the other rights and responsibilities of what we call parental authority. Example, the education, decisions about health care, etc., unless the court has advised otherwise. The parent who has custody exercises parental authority every day, while the other parent is doing it from a distance. And I think that speaks to probably the majority of, I hate to say it, but the majority of parents in the room. Some are parenting nearby, and some are parenting from a distance. And the parent who is parenting from a distance still needs to be consulted on all the major decisions. Example, choice of school, health care, medical things, if it's up to down, whether they want to have braces or whether they're going to have that surgery for the hernia. It cannot simply be we get up and make our own decision. For the poor parenting or neglecting our parental responsibilities, we've seen it before, we know as a people, we live in Jamaica, has severe consequences. And I would deem to say parenting is the most important public health issue going on in Jamaica today. And unfortunately, yes, we can big up voluntarism for parenting, but it really should not be relegated to a voluntary discipline. It is an extremely important discipline. Poor parenting practices has been implicated in childhood illness, accidents, teenage pregnancy, truancy, I know them drop out of school or they never show up like the visitor, school disruption, underachievement, as failing at school, child abuse, crime, mental illness, and eventually you cannot be employed, and the whole cycle of poverty continues. So at the end of the day, it is a whole host of issues that are emerging out of this business of neglecting simple parental responsibilities. Severe consequences. A lack of warm, positive relationships with parents, whether it be insecure attachment, which often happens when the child is shifted from one parent to the next. Nobody is ultimately responsible. Or it's the harsh, inflexible, which we saw demonstrated with the little play at the beginning. Rigid or inconsistent discipline practices. Inadequate supervision, knowing where your child is. The conflict between man and wife, man and woman living together, the domestic violence, marital conflict, and often maternal or paternal depression increases the risk that children develop major emotional and behavioral problems. And I'm going to pause there because, as I said, we run a child resiliency program, which is an after-school program for children with these same behavioral and emotional problems from grade 5. For the Denham Town, Trench Town, St. Annie, St. Albans, St. Andrew, for the Boys Town area, and St. Patrick's, Tarrant, St. Jude's, all the schools in those areas that go into the YMCA to help children who are having difficulty with behavioral and emotional problems. And we can say that probably 9 out of 10, 9.5%, 9.99% of the children who are in this program is something is going on in terms of these issues. Insecure attachment, harsh discipline, inadequate supervision, marital conflict, one or all of the above. Fulfilling our parental responsibilities is therefore critical. We have to help to protect children from harm, set boundaries to ensure safety, and help children to optimize their potential. We have a responsibility for nurturing and protecting the children and ensuring that, and I can list out these things, but don't just list them out and forget about them. Emotionally, the child needs to be nurtured. In other words, how are you feeling? Why are you crying? Why are you looking so angry today? Don't just brush those feelings under the carpet. Physically, we need to make sure the child's physical needs are met. Are they hungry? Do they have shelter? All right, are we caring for their books and their school fees? Socially, do they have a chance to go to anything at football, go to their dance class, go to drama? Intellectually, are they succeeding in school? Are they in a class where they are challenged? Sometimes it's the bright ones who are giving trouble, because they're bored. It's not just the low achievers. Creatively, are they having a chance to express their creativity? In a country where we are blessed, children, parents never, knock the creative side. As we can see, it is one of our greatest talents and it needs to be fostered. And our spiritual needs can never be underestimated. Now, I pause here just for the last 3 minutes of this presentation to say that we can talk all of these things in a nice forum in our AC, as we say, we sit down in our chair, but these things are not innate. We're not born good parents. We're not born good parents. We have to learn it like a skill. It's like playing the flute. And you have a choice. We can wake up and decide, do I want to learn to play the flute as of today? As of today, I want to learn the skill to be a better parent. And to do that, we need support and information. It's not just information, it is support. We need to build on parents' existing strengths and their child's strengths and identify those areas that are weak. Because it's not everything we're failing at. There's certain things we're doing well and we need to recognize them and then try and help focus on those things. And I'm looking at not just parents, you as parents now, but as parent leaders. Because I don't know that the people in the room here today are generally already the parent leaders in their community. Because unfortunately, the real parents we're trying to reach are not in here today. I can almost guarantee that. So I'm speaking to you now, shifting gears as parents, but as parent and community leaders, parents need parents committed to walk alongside them. That business of walking, I was in church the other day and they were talking about the business of walking with God. When you walk with somebody, it means you're intimate with them, you know what's going on in their life, and you have an ability to help them to grow and to change. Because if we just give a parent talk and we talk about discipline versus punishment and we have the 4 types of parenting, and you're not making one scrap of difference. We have to be able to sit down and work with parents over time and watch them grow and change. Down to whatever it is that we need to change. It needs somebody to walk with us. At the Child Resiliency Program, we follow our curriculum. It's really for the 8, 9, 10, 12-year-olds, so it's pre-adolescents. But we're looking at positive self-image, self-esteem, effective communication, supportive peer friendships, the whole business of positive sexuality, how to solve problems and make decisions, handling your anger and conflict, renegotiating roles and responsibilities, and setting achieving goals. And I've listed them just because these are what we call 10 of the adolescent development tasks. So as a parent of any child between 8 and 18, I would say, we're really looking at these specific areas. We have to look at goal setting, we have to look at how they renegotiate their roles and responsibilities, we have to look at how they manage their anger, look at the sexuality, the problem solving, the building of the self-esteem, the communication, and their friendships, because at that age, friendships are becoming critical. And we try and work with those themes over a period of time. Because I said you can't just go in and talk about, have a one session on building communication with your child if we don't have something to follow along over a period of time. Other than that, we have obviously the main areas that we need to focus sometimes on something more specific, the drug abuse prevention, the violence abuse, the STIs, and pregnancy prevention. And I'm not going to minimize this last one, this handling of grief and building resiliency in a context where our children have so many of them are going grieving. Parent lost, grandmother dead, father dead, in prison, gone away. Yes, whoever and whatever. And this whole business of grieving needs support and nurturing. And the whole business of building resilience is not the topic for the presentation today. But what I will stop and say is that parents, there's a term, and when anybody go on an airplane, put on your oxygen mask before you attend to your children. And that's sort of what I think about when I think of building resilience in ourselves. We cannot parent a child if we ourselves have not been parented. It's very difficult. We have to fill up the holes in our own lives, the HOLES, to become whole, WHOLE. And to do that is very, very difficult, even for the most educated in the world, with the PhDs and the doctorates, and the doctor myself. And sometimes it is only by the grace of God. And I'm just sorry to bring in the pastoral component, but I have to. There is a pastoral model for parenting that comes from the man upstairs. And he knows what it is to be a parent. And so sometimes we have to go back to God and say to our parents, try and help me to be a better parent by parenting me first. In other words, allow God to parent you. What are the areas you missed as a child? Maybe you had a mother who was nurturing and very loving and caring and so, but you had no discipline and no father who could encourage you and instruct you on the way to go. Which means a piece of your life is missing. Or maybe you had the other way around. You had the father or somebody who is providing and disciplining and telling you exactly what and not to do, but you had nobody giving you that nurturing and that love and that hug and that tenderness and that compassion. And what the Father God really says is that He is complete. As we grow in the image of God, we are basically trying to say that we can grow in all the missing areas of our life. And it is not an easy road. So I'll just leave it at that. We have to work with the teams, we have to work with small groups. For instance, this is a group at Boys Town. probably never more than 12 to 15 parents at any one time with a facilitator. Again, this is up at the Y. And again, these are children who are blossoming. We like to call these children at promise, not at risk. A happy family creates children who can paint a better world. Thank you.